We're now joined by Ricky Stenhouse Jr., driver of the number 17 Fifth Third Bank Ford. Stenhouse, the last time you were here, you made your way to victory lane. What's it going to take to get another win this weekend?
Well, not last time, just last time for this race. I wish we made victory lane last time we were here. That would have been awesome. But yeah, no, it's always cool. Being at Talladega earlier this year and trying to defend the win from the year before is always fun. And came up a few spots short at Talladega, but felt really good about our car. We felt really good about our car here in the 500. They've made a few changes to the package, but I still feel like our Fifth Third Ford will be strong enough to do what we need to do and hopefully get it back into victory lane here and defend this race win in July. So it's a great opportunity for us. We're still kind of battling there points-wise for 16th, and that's something that we've been focused on and kind of slipped the last couple weeks, even though we've had probably our better runs at the two tracks that we've struggled at, but a win would go a long ways.
If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get you a mic. We'll go here in the front.
Matt Weaver, Auto Week. You just kind of brought up the point that you're a little down on the points. So do you expect that there are so many guys who are needing a win, and this is an opportunity race? Do you expect respect to kind of go out the window the last couple of laps as guys are trying to get in position and then potentially win the race?
I think respect kind of goes out the window at the end of every race. We all want to win. And, here at Daytona, there's so many options and so many, different things and ways, the race can play out. And you might think you have it, and then all of a sudden you don't. And, but I think that goes all the way back through the field. For us, if we can come in here and, gain, 30 or 40 points on the guys that we're racing for 16th, then, we go into Kentucky next week, all of a sudden we're inside looking at the playoffs instead of from the outside. So, we all go as hard as we can here on these last few laps at the speedways, and generally is the reason why there's always wrecks at the end, because we know it's a good opportunity for us to win.
We'll go in the back.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Ricky, you sounded pretty distressed over the state of your car during the radio in the race last week. And any signs or glimmers of hope that things are improving, or halfway through the season, is it more the same?
We've had some tough conversations these last few weeks. I think, I've been pretty vocal, in the shop and sometimes out in whether it be in an interview or on the radio, probably when I shouldn't. I definitely need to respect all of our guys at the shop that are working hard and, trying to provide new stuff for us. We just haven't got that new stuff as quick as what we wanted. And, I think last week I got a little frustrated seeing, hearing other teams bringing newer cars to the track and kind of seeing their performance have an uptick. And then, some of those cars we're racing to get in the playoffs. And so that's kind of where the frustration comes in. We were able to somewhat salvage an okay day out of it after, being really far off, I felt like, all weekend. And, I told Jack I didn't think we'd finish inside the top 20 last week because just in practice, that's just the way the car felt. So, we got a better finish out of it than I thought. But, we're working hard. We've got some things in the works. It's just not here right now. So that's a bummer. We're hoping that we can get some new stuff soon. No, I wish. It needs to be now. But, like I said, the process of, getting something new and kind of deciding what path you're going to go down to make the cars better and faster. You sit there and, kind of get a group together. It's been nice having Matt, kind of back up, what we've been saying in our cars and trying to get us going down a direction of fixing that. So it's been good having him there. Even when he's not in the race car, he's still a part of our meetings and, still looking at my race notes from Sonoma, even though he didn't race, and same with Chicago. And, we've been talking a lot of what we need for our cars to be faster. And so that's been a huge positive. But, you got to get in that room, figure out what you want, and then you got to design it, then you got to get it approved, and then you got to put it in production for us to get it to the racetrack. So it's not as quick as what I want it to be, but we'll see. Hopefully it'll be good things to come.
We'll go next to Pat and work our way up.
Pat?
Oh. You're fine. You can go ahead.
Thanks so much. Ricky, how you doing? Question, I was just driving in today, see all the fans are already camped out. They're bringing their pools out and everything. What makes the fans that come out to Daytona different, and maybe what makes this race different as well?
I think this race weekend is always special. It's kind of weird 4th of July being, yesterday versus, on the weekend of Daytona. But, it's still that patriotic weekend that you feel the atmosphere around this racetrack, and people all throughout Daytona. For a racer, Daytona's special no matter what. The Supercross guys think it's special. We think it's special. The road course guys, back when I raced go-karts and came down, even though I didn't race inside this track, but Daytona Kart Week was always special. So anytime you can win, be a part of a race here at Daytona, that's something that you dream about doing. And then, obviously pulling into that victory lane is unlike any other. So that's something we all strive for.
Greg Engel Auto Week. Going back to Nate's kind of points, when Matt came in there and giving this feedback, was there any like aha moments or stuff we didn't realize? Because sometimes when you bring somebody in from outside an organization, they see things that those inside the organization don't, if that makes sense. So has there been any kind of new information that maybe is you think will help in the future, even though it's not going to take overnight?
I don't know. I mean, I think, Matt's experience is good. I think, he drives our cars, and, it doesn't drive anything like he was used to driving before he came over. So that's the feedback I like to hear is, the things I'm complaining about in our race cars. And then when he comes and says, hey, our race cars didn't drive like that, so there's potential. I know that, hey, if I can get my car driving like I want or like what he had, there's speed in that. And so that's been nice more for me just to kind of say, hey, am I asking the car to do something it shouldn't, or is that something that I really need? And, I think he's kind of validated that, that's something that we need.
We'll go to Caleb.
Caleb Whistler, KickingTires.net, kind of building off of the Matt being back. Kind of what has it been like for you to have Trevor back these past 2 weeks and what he's been inputting in for you guys?
Yeah, it's been good. I think, Trevor being able to, after he set out, I've been through this same exact thing in the Nationwide Series back in 2010, and you can almost kind of come back with a, hey, I don't really care what you think. I'm gonna tell you what I think, and just get in and drive it, and have almost like a whole different attitude about it. And I feel like he's come in, give a ton of feedback. Really confident in his feedback after listening and being around the track a little bit when Matt was in the car, being in our debriefs. After the weeks that he wasn't in the car, and hearing Matt talk about the same things that he talked about. And, so I think he's got some confidence that he was doing the right things and giving that right feedback.
Outside of that confidence, what have you seen in Trevor the past couple weeks?
Well, I think it's, these races are tough, and we're not in a position just to run up through the field. And so you got to qualify good. You got to have good practices. You got to have good pit stops, and, you got to execute well. And that's something that, I feel like we've been doing a really good job at on the 17. I think, Brian does a really good job of strategy calls in the race. And, it's cool to see kind of Trevor, get into that mix and, want to help make some of those calls. And, after, sitting on the outside watching, kind of how the races play out. And I think he's, got an understanding of what he needs and how these races play out from watching on the sidelines.
We'll go on the back and then up front to Reed.
So Woody came with MRN. Ricky, look ahead for us a week, if you will. You head to Kentucky, a few years into the repave there now, and is that track starting to open up any? And does the tire dragging thing help a lot, or not so much?
I mean, it's funny. They used the tire dragon last week at Kentucky, which I don't really know why you use the tire dragon at Kentucky. You want the newest pavement you can at Kentucky. You don't want pavement that rubber's been on. So it kind of confuses us, I think, as drivers, when they use it, when they don't use it, or how they use it. So to me, I think the tire dragon should not be ran on, first or second lane. Third lane needs to be drug all the way to the wall. It's weird. Kentucky and the new repaves, you just get out of the groove and it's so slick, and kind of like Texas, it's we all run the bottom, so we don't need it drug in the bottom. We'll get that run in. So I think looking at Michigan, we run semi the middle of the track throughout practice, and then we work it down. It just tends to never work up on the new repaves. So for me, I like it if it was, continued to run a little bit higher than what it has been.
We'll go next to Reed. Right in the green.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire. You talk about the tight points battle and the fight for the last playoff spots. Looks like points are going to be extremely important this year. But then again, do you view Saturday night perhaps as the best opportunity to put the points aside and lock it in with a win? Yeah,
for sure. I think we've got Daytona and I feel like Bristol, that there's two tracks that we can still potentially win at, being able to go out and win a race. Obviously there's racetracks that things can play out. I don't think we have the speed at the mile and a half yet to go out there and win like we want to. So I think realistically when I go to those mile and a halves, I'm like, hey, let's somehow manage a 12th place finish, whether you get a couple stage points and finish 15th and you're averaging, basically a 12th place finish. That's basically what we look at when we go to some of those tracks. But Daytona definitely Saturday night is a really big opportunity for us, but, for everybody else too. There could be, a team behind us that wins, and then now we're really further out of points, because it catapults them up. So, it's all part of the system, and you go and put yourselves in the best position you can. And unfortunately, this year we've gotten more playoff points than we did last year, but our finishes haven't been as good. So it's just trying to balance everything out. But definitely every point is pretty important for us.
Do we have any additional questions? All right. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Good luck this weekend.